Peace, family. I am Chi Vital, aka King Chi, and I am back with another tool for your toolkits. Today, family, another special edition for the Occult College. We are continuing the video series on the Cthulhu Mythos. Today, we are going to crack the Kraken code. So I'll wait for you all to tune in as you jump on here. Y'all know I love the hearts because I love the love, but drop your octopus in the chat. Drop those octopus in the chat. I'm going to wipe off my camera here. Excuse me. Can you lay me down? All right. Today's lesson is going to be pretty deep. Okay. What up? What up? Fairy gangs in the building. They're working hard and overtime. Get your notebooks ready because this is about to give you crazy DNA cracking, bursting medicine so you can understand how to delve deep and how to survive the depths in which you're going. All right. Before I get started into the lesson, make sure you go over to the community tab on the HOC channel, the House of Chi channel, and print out the poem that has been shared with you by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Okay, I'll put his name in the chat. Make sure you credit this poem to him. Alfred Lord Tennyson. All right, you want to print out this poem for your homework tonight. I will explain exactly what to do with it. It's going to be something that you add to your work with the call of Cthulhu. And let's go. What up? I see Scorpion is in the building. What up? Aki's in the building. Emerald's in the building. Nikki's in the building. Arika's in the building. What up, y'all? All right. So we're going to talk about this relationship that exists between Kraken and Cthulhu, right? You all are starting to begin to unveil some of the mysteries behind the Cthulhu cults and mythos. What I want to bring our attention to for today's lesson are two concepts that I'm going to give you my own personal definitions for that you will need to write down verbatim. Okay, these two definitions, they're going to differ from what you see in the Wikipedia or dictionary.com, but they're coming from the background of someone who has gone through the initiation and has studied these Cthulhu mythos through the Necronomicon. Okay, these two definitions are going to help you understand the vulnerability, the sensitivity, and the vastness of what you're getting into. Y'all know that I like to really hone in on the psychological aspects of your occult endeavors, because the most important part of your scholarship is going to include a large part your psyche. Okay? And there are two things that you need to understand. These are two concepts, two definitions. The two words that I'm going to give you a definition for are insane and sane. So write these down. I will begin with the definition of insane, so you can write insane in your notebooks first. Okay? Y'all gonna have to start calling me Dr. Mother. Dr. Mother, I need to talk to you. Okay? The definition of insane. outside of the mind that has been artificially programmed for this virtual reality. Insane. Outside the mind that has been artificially programmed for this virtual reality. Okay? Insane. Make sure y'all thumbs up this video. Now, the definition for sane is a little bit more wordy. But when I finish giving you these definitions, I have a question for you. Press 1 in the chat if you're ready for the definition for sane. One more time. Insane. Outside of the mind that has been artificially programmed for this virtual reality. I'm going to share some secrets with y'all today. Secrets that I've personally experienced, and I'm going to stand by them. Because as it goes for the true occultists, there's going to be things that you reveal to the public that initially they are going to stamp you with insane. And you know what? I love it. Definition number 2. Sane. The mind that has conformed to the popularly accepted and perceived limitations. I gotta get to Hoosie GPT up in here. Of common society, which accepts its reality as determined by the agreement of the masses. Now, this one is a mouthful. So I'm actually, if someone has the ability to type it into the chat, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, because I only have my notes from my own work. Okay. So if y'all give me a minute, I'll put it in the chat. But I would appreciate it if someone who can types it in here as well. So the mind conformed to the popularly accepted and perceived limitations of common society, which accepts its reality as determined by the agreement of the masses. It's in the chat. Screenshot that, y'all. Okay? These are Britannici. Okay? Britannici definitions. And they come from my comprehension of what I experienced via occult studies, practices, being in the lab, reading, writing, channeling, receiving divine information that later on is confirmed by literature. Okay? So these are straight, raw, real experience and definitions. Now, the reason I cannot go by what Wikipedia says is because Wikipedia's definitions come from the sane populace. And when you are an occultist and you're going into these liminal spaces and these realms between, hear me out, awake and sleep, you cannot draw all of your information from what is gathered there for the masses, because you are not of the mass population. You are an elite group of individuals who are willing to dive deeply into the forbidden knowledge. Press 1 in the chat if this makes sense so far. One of the reasons behind the title of Secret Society is not just because everything is hush hush, but it is unseen and unknowable to those who do not give themselves permission to deep dive into the realms of forbidden knowledge. Many of the secrets are revealed in plain sight, but it will depend on what eyes you are looking through. Okay? In the Call of Cthulhu, okay, Lovecraft states, there's a line there that says, "I shall not be unfaithful to spirit." This line comes after he states that an impression of this octopus, dragon, human entity came after recognizing some hieroglyphs. Hieroglyphs, by definition, are simply symbols that represent sounds, words, or objects. So we're not necessarily saying we're looking at Egyptian hieroglyphs. We're looking at shapes that are codes. They are codes. And one thing we realize is that we exist in a binary world. As much as the individual, the human spirit, wants to move towards gnosis, oneness with the ultimate God reality, the ultimate creator. By default, living on earth, we exist in the binary, the duality. And this remains consistent through our makeup, our technology, our divination systems, and all the things that are created. When Lovecraft says his eyes, he sees the hieroglyphs and an impression, okay, an impression occurs. When you're reading it, it's not him saying merely, I was told, like, this is the drawing that I see and I was told what to see. I saw these symbols and an impression occurred, and he says, I shall not be unfaithful to spirit. This is the type of commitment that you will need to have when you are reading tomes like the Necronomicon, when you are reading poetry and literature like the Kraken, when you are reading the Enuma Elish, When you are writing the cuneiform and impressions are coming upon you and you're beginning to see things that are not physically there in black and white, but the codes are waking up the receptors in your subconscious mind and revealing a picture for you to further understand and comprehend what you're looking at. You follow? Press 1 in the chat if you follow what I'm saying. So real rap, you understand that we are living, walking technology like computers. After reading the Enuma Elish and seeing how we were created, you understand that we were birthed from technology the same way that we are creating AI. The same way that we boot up our computers. The same way that we put code in the computers to spit out information, to crunch numbers. We cannot create that which we are not. These computers come from us. And through that technology, we realize that we also have a computer program. Now, I'll tell you what I discovered with cracking the Kraken code. There's a piece that continues to be spoken about Cthulhu. Cthulhu, right, is considered a priest that is asleep but awake, alive but dead. I'll give you a pop quiz. Which aspect of us fits that description? There's 2 answers I'm looking for. Even more textbook than your spirit. Because the spirit is constantly alive, is animating this avatar we have. Correct. Cool, Emerald Jade. I'll give you a prize. I got a prize for you. The subconscious mind. The subconscious mind. Okay? The subconscious mind is constantly awake, but it's also asleep. And the only time we become aware of it being awake is when we go to sleep. You see that? And when we go into the deepest states of meditation or into that realm of pure darkness, the abyss is where we find the Kraken of our soul. We find that shadow of ourselves that when we reach a state of integration, it's only because the shadow or the Kraken or the Cthulhu, that remnants that is part of our makeup, comes to the surface. Here in our awakened state is the surface. And what do we say about bringing the shadow to the surface? Once the shadow hits the light and integrates, it dies. Now, I don't know if this went over your head, but I'm going to repeat myself. When you go into the depths and you meet face to face with the deepest, darkest aspects of yourself, you retrieve them and you bring them forward into awareness. They die. Now, where's the danger in this? Because everybody wants to do shadow work now, right? It's so powerful. It's so invigorating. The danger. Remember the video preceding this about too powerful, too fast. One of the factors is not having enough groundedness in the ego to anchor you, to bring you back. So if you go deep into the depths of the other reality that cannot be reached in the awakened state, you will implode, disappear, no longer exist, and will not be able to walk the gates of the abyss and this binary reality. Because we speak of the heavens and outer space, but when we go deep down into the earth, we experience the same vastness and unknown as there is in space, as above, so below. It takes mastery, training, proper preparation to go and seek to face those monsters that are manifestation of who you are. We cannot be anything different than what has created us. The same way our technology cannot be any different from what we are. Press 1 in the chat if you understand. What I found interesting as far as being able to see things that are there in plain sight, especially with the call to Cthulhu, is this dripping green ooze. It's always this dripping green ooze. Where do we get this dripping green ooze? Well, that reminded me of the green matrix numbers that when they're moving, right, look like green water. And the highest vibration that exists is water. It is the most programmable. So everything that we begin to tap into, which is forbidden, right? It's forbidden because it's the essence of creation. It's the material of totally tapping into that state of renewal, rebirth. And why all of this conversation now? Well, of course, we are shifting paradigm. And for us, in one lifetime, we are experiencing and standing in between two totally different realities by the movement of the most harshest, grim reaping, transformative, planetary aspects known to us, being the movement of Pluto, which marks the dawning of the new era. And here we are moving from one state of being into another, one state of structure into one of freedom, mystery, surprises the underdog. We know that Pluto and its relationship to Scorpio is that the higher realms of Scorpio would be that eagle, the phoenix that is able to totally disintegrate and rebirth. But it doesn't make sense to disintegrate and rebirth and repeat. Now we're looking at disintegration and rebirthing into something totally new, which is the truest, highest expression of alchemy. Y'all still with me? So right now, press 1 if you are selecting insanity based on the definitions that I've given versus selecting sanity. Let me see in the chat. Everybody put, I shall not be unfaithful to spirit. I shall not be unfaithful to spirit. So what we do know about the Kraken, okay, and I'm mentioning the Kraken because we're talking about this mysterious, huge octopus-like entity that takes up all this space, but it is still untouchable. It's still a mystery. Something so huge that takes up so much space that those who have been able to see it have only been able to create it through art, and then the rest of the world constantly is trying to prove its existence, and they get little glimpses of it, but they never can totally hold it. And that in itself is exactly how you are leaning into existing by the codes of the Kraken, being huge in existence and totally untouchable at the same time. The other code of the Kraken, one, let's note that it has been recorded as early as the 1100s in Nordic folklore, okay? And we consistently see that it destroys the sanity of those who see it. And based on the definitions that I've given you, being face to face with something that exists outside the realms of the popular program is going to break the mind of that individual. It's going to strip the mind of those walls, those barriers that is supposed to exist. So whether it be in reality, because again, our minds, our beings are computers. What happens to a computer that has not been updated in a long time, and then you try to put some new heavy duty hardware on there? That thing will either slow down or short circuit. This is why it is very important. It is imperative for individuals who are doing this type of work to have time where they reboot their systems. Okay? What are ways in which we reboot our systems as practicing occultists, as people who will live and not be unfaithful to spirit? There's a way that we reboot and we upgrade. Let me see who got an answer. Very good, Della. Meditation. Meditation is one of the top things that we have to do. Isolation, spending some time in darkness, spending some time totally unplugged, fasting from all input. These are the major ways in which we reboot, upgrade, and train our psyches to be able to go into the abyss and come back with information without breaking the mind that helps us exist here in the binary world. Okay? And we notice that the more that we spend time with these codes by ourselves, allowing ourselves to get the information and go into a state of sleep, meaning you can be awake, right? You can be awake sitting up in darkness, or you can allow yourself go into an astral traveling state where you become active without your physical self. The more that you're practicing this, is the safer you'll be, so long as you come back, you ground, and you make sure that when you are in these spaces where you're very, very sensitive because you've been spending a lot of time without your egoic self that separates you from everything. You see, the ego cannot exist in the abyss because the ego itself is something separate from existence. When we go into the abyss, we go into a state of nothingness. And it's just as we are coming back, we're able to retrieve something and bring it into reality. You notice that? You notice when you are really on a huge journey, you're totally present, you're doing the most, you're seeing this, you're seeing that. It's just as you come to that wakeful state that you get the most powerful impression of what information is necessary for you to implement in this reality. Because you can experience a freaking epic of things. And it's the thing that lasts with you the most is as soon as you're coming back up from the abyss, right? You a deep diver, got on your scuba gear, you all the way down in there. And as you come up to the surface, like that's the thing. And it's not a whole bunch either. It's just a couple little nuggets. I see y'all in the chat, like, yeah, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. You're like, dang, like there was, and you're trying to reach for all this other stuff because you can see it in your mind's eye, which your mind's eye, okay? The Kraken is known for, and Kraken is like the slang word for the sea monster, this huge squid, is known for having the largest eye an animal has on this planet. The largest eye. And is known to be highly psychic. So the way to communicate with such a being is obviously going to be in the realm of psychic telepathy. right? And the highest forms of psychic power, clairvoyance, ability to see beyond what has already manifested in this realm, is going to be built in darkness. Because in the darkness is the only realm that we can build up our capacity to generate internal light. So when we say we had a psychic vision, we're not seeing something outside of us. We are having a vision from our inner eye. Right? When you're like, I was in meditation and I saw from my inner eye this presented. Right? That psychic vision comes from the lights turning on inside. But we get that light inside that helps us to see by sitting in darkness. And so why is darkness such a no-no? Darkness is a no-no. Oh, the deep monsters and these are demons, these are satanic beings, and it's forbidden because that's where the power is. If you go spending all this time in the darkness, you're going to be able to see things that are hidden in plain sight. It's like having a black light. Everything written in invisible writing all around us. And now you walking around with the black light. So what I want y'all to do for your homework to help to develop this psychic energy and being able to connect directly with this Cthulhu energy without short-circuiting. So I want you to read the poem, because through poetry, see, our artists, this is why, shameless plug, this is why the Faith Tree Foundation exists. The artists are our vehicles of connection with the unseen realm. They are natural walking mediums and channels for the divine to communicate their existence. The divine wants us to know that they are here. Okay? They want us to know they exist, because if we don't recognize their existence, there's no more power to them being here. Now we can say, okay, well, I'm just going to turn my eyes away from it and I'll ignore it altogether. But that would be boring. That would be boring. So y'all see more and more of these stories coming forward because the divine wants to be known. It's the same as when our people were taken from the shores of West Africa and brought to the Americas, that the deities from over there start moving through the people because they want this land to know that they exist. They could have stayed over there, but they traveled with the people. All of these energies that drop through and reveal themselves to people everywhere in the world do so because they will so. They want to be known. And to the individual who is faithful to spirit, who sees them and begins to engage them and learn how to do the transactions in such a way that they are successful, they gain a bit more power to work with. Okay? So don't get played out here. And know that what you're reading with your eyes, when you see stuff that just appears to you, document it for yourself. Because it's being revealed to you for a reason. And know that you have power, right? Okay, so you revealed yourself to me. So what's this relationship going to be? What are you capable of, divinity? And when they express to you what they're capable of, prove it. This is the kind of empowerment that you are learning. These are all within the codes of the Kraken. So let's get cracking, y'all. Y'all ready to do some more of this work? All right. So again, your homework assignment is to print out this poem, and I want you to spend some time, just read it, and I want you to write down, things that are revealed to you through reading this poem. Read it a couple of times, and then share what's revealed to you. Okay? Y'all got any questions? Clash of the Titans is a good go-to as well. Y'all good? Y'all good? Thank you, Tahuti Faye. All right, y'all. Much love to y'all. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. Peace, love, and bliss. Gotta get back to this fairy game. I'm out.